Hey y'all, I'm Lily and I'm 24. So, my husband Eric and I thought we hit the jackpot with that decent house we bought for cheap. Well, let me tell you, that decision quickly turned into a nightmare when we discovered we had a bug infestation. Ugh, it was the stuff of horror movies. Picture this. Eric was away on a business trip and I was home alone minding my own business when I noticed these creepy crawlies invading my space. I almost passed out from the shock and disgust. I mean, who wouldn't? Panicking, I called Eric, sobbing, and being the sweetheart he is, he assured me that everything would be fine and I needed to get out of the house. He said he would sort everything out, but he suggested I call my mother-in-law, Iva, for help and a temporary place to stay since I didn't have many friends or family I could ask for assistance, and we lived near each other. I thought we got along quite well, but I was surprised when her response was far from supportive. She seemed annoyed and acted like I was being a nuisance. Can you believe it? I was already freaking out, and she was giving me the cold shoulder. Hi, Iva, it's Lily. I have something to tell you. Something's happened and I'm freaking out. Oh, what is it now, Lily? Can't it wait? I'm in the middle of something. Well, you see, I came home today and I found, bugs in the house, lots of them. It's gross and I don't know, it's just overwhelming. Bugs? Really? Can't you handle something like that on your own? What do you want me to do about it? I don't know what to do, Iva. Eric's away and I'm alone here. It's just I can't deal with it alone. Eric said he's sorting everything out, but I wanted to ask. Could I stay with you for a few days while we get the house treated? Are you serious? Stay with me? No way. Can't you just find a hotel or something? Well, it's just that hotels can get expensive. We're kind of tight on money right now, and I thought maybe. Expensive? Oh, please, that's not my problem. Figure it out on your own. I'm not going to deal with your mess. I understand, Iva. I just thought we could help each other out. Since we're family. Ugh, fine. If you have to come, then I guess you can. I don't need Eric breathing down my neck about this. Trust me, folks, I was just as confused as you are right now. As I mentioned, we used to get along fine. I didn't know why she was being so rude to me at that moment. She must have been going senile. Thanks. Yeah, whatever. Just make sure you don't bring any of those bugs with you. I don't need you messing up my home. Don't worry, Iva. Thanks once again. I'll call you when I arrive. All right, so I finally arrived at Iva's house, exhausted from dealing with the whole bug infestation mess. I was so grateful for Eric because he sorted out as much as he could from his end, calling some exterminators and getting some people to move out some of our furniture and belongings to keep them in a storage unit. I went to my mother-in-law's house, but I was thinking about going somewhere else, considering the way she was treating me, but I couldn't do that. I had nowhere else to go. I arrived and I could see her scowling from her porch. I was lugging around my baggage, frustrated, tired, and sad from what had happened earlier. She saw me struggling. And you know what she did? Nothing. She just stood there, arms crossed, not even bothering to help me with the luggage. Instead, she started complaining about me being infested with bugs. Hey, Iva. Thanks for letting me stay here while our place gets sorted out. It's been quite a nightmare with those bugs. Nightmare is right. Are you sure you're not bringing those nasty bugs with you? I don't want them infesting my home. What? No, I'm clean, Iva. The bugs are back at our place, not on me. I've showered like 3 times since I found them. Well, I hope you're not bringing any eggs or something. Iva, come on. I'm not bringing any bugs or eggs with me. Can you stop being so rude? Rude? Me? I'm just looking out for my home. Okay, but there's no need to be mean about it. I'm already stressed enough dealing with this situation. I don't need you adding to it. I just don't want any bugs crawling around here. It's disgusting. I understand that, but it's not like I wanted to have bugs in my house either. Trust me, I wish this never happened. Well, maybe if you kept a cleaner house, this wouldn't have happened. Whoa, hold on. Are you seriously blaming me for the bugs? It's not like I invited them in. I'm just saying if you were more diligent with cleaning, maybe this wouldn't have happened. You've always been quite messy. You know what? I've had enough of this. I don't need you lecturing me about cleaning. I work hard, and I do my best to keep our place tidy, but sometimes things happen that are out of our control. But she just kept making these snide remarks, acting all high and mighty. It was so frustrating, and I couldn't help but wonder where all this hostility was coming from. I finished unloading what I could, leaving the rest in the car, and coming inside. I tried ignoring Iva, but geez, dealing with geriatrics can be exhausting. There's so much to handle sometimes. She kept complaining about my presence, forcing me to shower 5 times and even leave all my clothes in the bag. Hours went by, and when I tried to strike up a conversation, she would dismiss me and act so cold. It was like I was living with Regina George. Living with those bugs didn't sound bad at that point. At least they wouldn't treat me like I was some creep. I was getting sick of her stinky attitude, so I mustered up the courage to confront her. I asked her point blank why she was being so rude to me. And you know what she revealed? Brace yourself. She was irritated because I didn't give her any grandkids. Can you believe that's the reason? I mean, seriously? Iva, we need to talk. I don't understand why you've been so cold and rude to me since I got here. Did I do something to upset you? Yes, actually. You pissed me off. For the last time, Iva, it's not my fault that our house got infested. It must have been the faulty insulation from that cheap house. The exterminator said that the cheap insulating caused the house to be more humid than it needed to be, leading to... That's not what I meant. I'm angry with you because you don't want to give me grandchildren. How could you be so selfish? Iva, are you being serious right now? In that time, I remembered a few months back, the last time I'd spoken to Iva. During a casual conversation, I mentioned that Eric and I decided not to have kids right now because of the state of the economy in the world. Iva was quiet after I said that, and I didn't think much of it at the time. But now I realize she took it personally. She had this whole vision of being a grandmother, and I guess my decision crushed her expectations. But come on, it's my life and Eric's too. We get to decide when and if we want to have kids, right? I couldn't help feeling a mix of anger and sadness, and I mean, I love Iva. But she shouldn't be trying to guilt-trip me into having children. It's not fair to put that kind of pressure on me, especially when I'm already dealing with so much. I tried to reason with her, telling her that it's our choice and we're not ready for that responsibility right now, but she just wouldn't listen. It was like she was stuck in her little world where her desires were the only ones that mattered. Iva, I can't believe you're being so selfish right now. Eric and I made a decision together to not have kids. You have no right to force your expectations on us. Selfish? Ha! Look who's talking. You're the one being crazy and selfish, thinking only about yourselves and not about your own family. Our decision not to have kids doesn't make us any less of a family. We're happy with our lives and our choices, and it's not up to you to judge us. Oh, please. Your house getting infested with bugs is just karma for not giving me grandchildren. Maybe if you had kids, you'd have someone to take care of you and your house wouldn't be a disaster. That's a horrible thing to say, Iva. Bugs have nothing to do with whether or not we have kids, and trying to blame it on karma is just ridiculous. You may think it's ridiculous, but I believe in it. You're being selfish and karma is catching up to you. I can't believe you're being so mean and hurtful. I thought you were my family and that you cared about me. Cared about you? Ha! I care about my family having a future, and you're ruining that by not giving me grandchildren. It's not your decision to make. Eric and I are happy with our life together, and we don't need to have kids to validate that. You're just being stubborn and foolish. You'll regret this decision one day, and then it'll be too late. I won't regret it because it's our decision, not yours. And I won't let you or anyone else make me feel bad about it. You're just too selfish to see the bigger picture. You're robbing me of the joy of being a grandmother, and I'll never forgive you for that. I'm sorry if our decision hurts you, but it's not fair for you to put that burden on us. We're living our lives the way we want to, and you should respect that. Respect? Ha! You don't deserve any respect for being so heartless and selfish. I can't believe you're saying these things to me. I thought you loved me, but it's clear that you only care about yourself and what you want. If you loved me, you'd give me grandchildren, but you're just too selfish to do that. I won't let you guilt-trip me into making a decision that I don't want. Our relationship should be based on love and support, not on trying to control each other. Love and support? You don't know the meaning of those words. All you care about is yourself. I'm done with this conversation. I won't let you continue to hurt me with your words. You have some nerve speaking to me like this and being in my home. I should kick you out right now. After she said that, I realized that I had to swallow my pride if I wanted a place to stay. I mean, where else could I go? I had no choice but to stay at her house for a while until our home was rid of those creepy crawlies. I suggested that we just keep our distance and give each other some space during this time. I needed a break from all the shouting and taunting that had just happened. But oh no, Iva couldn't let it go. She was all cocky, thinking she had won the argument, and she kept on making rude comments about the bug infestation and how it was some sort of karma for me not giving her grandchildren. Like, seriously? That's so absurd. I needed to get away from her, so I decided to go to the park for a bit. I just needed to breathe and clear my head from all the drama. I contemplated calling Eric and talking to him about it, but I didn't want to burden him with the drama. He was already doing so much, sorting out a household issue when he wasn't even home. He was my rock, for real, and I didn't know where I would be without him. When I got back and finally wanted to get some rest, I found that the guest room was locked. Can you believe it? I asked Iva to unlock it so I could sleep, and you know what she said? She said it was locked for a reason, that she didn't want me sleeping in the bed and potentially infecting it. Can you imagine how rude that was? I was so shocked by her inhospitability. I mean, I'm her daughter-in-law, for crying out loud. The least she could do is let me sleep in the guest room. I asked if I could sleep on the couch, but she just straight up said, "No, you'll sleep on the floor." I couldn't believe my ears. She repeated herself when she saw that I wasn't responding, thinking that I didn't hear her. Unfortunately, I heard her right the first time. So Iva dared to explain to me that she didn't feel comfortable having me stay in her nice clean beds because she thought I had bugs. Can you believe it? I was so insulted by that. Like, just because my house had a bug infestation doesn't mean I'm bringing them everywhere I go. I straight up told her she was acting crazy for even thinking I'd sleep on the floor. I mean, who does that to their own family? It's so rude and disrespectful. But you know what she said? She said, "If you're not happy here, you can find another place to stay." Can you believe her? It was already pretty late, and I didn't want to deal with finding another place, so I decided to just bite the bullet and sleep on the floor. I found a mat in one of the closets and tried to make it as comfy as possible by pulling out some pillows and sheets from my luggage. I mean, it was the least I could do to make myself somewhat comfortable in this crazy situation. So there I was, setting up my mat in the living room, and then I saw Iva come downstairs with this smug look on her face. Ugh, she was getting on my nerves so much. She had the nerve to tell me that she had to go somewhere and that she'd be back later. And get this, she warned me not to snoop around looking for a key to the guest room. Can you imagine? It's like she thinks I'm some sort of thief or something. I couldn't believe the way she was treating me. It was like she was trying to make me feel unwelcome and uncomfortable in her own home. I was just so frustrated and hurt by her behavior. So after that whole mess with Iva, I went to sleep on that uncomfortable mat she made me sleep on. I couldn't help but cry myself to sleep because I just didn't understand why my mother-in-law was so mad at me. I mean, all I did was ask to stay with her temporarily while our house was getting fixed. I didn't deserve all this hostility. But then, a couple of hours later, I was woken up by the sound of Iva screaming in her bedroom. I rushed upstairs to see what was going on, and there she was, all folded up in that Murphy bed she had in her room. It was like the bed had malfunctioned or something, and it seriously injured her. She was screaming for help, and I was scared and shocked. I quickly tried to get her out of bed, but it wasn't easy. It seemed like the remote wasn't working. She was crying and wailing like a baby, and I could tell she was in so much pain. It was a terrible situation, and I felt so helpless. But then, amid all that pain, she accused me of tampering with the bed to make it malfunction. I was just as shocked as she was, and I tried to explain that I was sleeping the whole time and didn't even hear her come back home. Of course, I carried her downstairs and rushed her to the ER. It turned out that she had broken 2 ribs and had a fracture on her leg. It was a pretty serious situation, but she was going to recover just fine. I stayed by her side in the hospital. What? What is it? I just think it's funny how you were talking all day today about karma, and you've ended up in this situation. Iva was taken aback by my comment, but she quickly calmed down. I think she realized that getting worked up would only make things worse, especially since she was already in a fragile state with her injuries. But even at that moment, she didn't apologize or admit she was wrong. It was like she just brushed it off and pretended like nothing had happened. I have to admit, I was hurt and disappointed by her reaction. I thought maybe this would be a wake-up call for her to see how badly she had treated me, but it seemed like she was still unwilling to take responsibility for her actions. I still believe that you did this to me. You'll pay. At that moment, I was tired of her. Even though I didn't touch that bed, I decided to play with her. You know what, Iva? Maybe you're right. What? Yeah, Iva, maybe you're right about that. So you did it? Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. I guess you'll never know. I'll sue you. Shh, Iva, you don't want to spike your heart rate now, do you? You have a lot of rest to do. Iva was baffled. It was funny to watch. I must have looked like an evil villain to her, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. I wanted her to suffer and think that I was the one who did that to her, even though it wasn't true. I was hoping that she would at least learn not to mess with me if she thought I was crazy enough to do something so evil. I got up and I was ready to go. I was tired of dealing with her nagging. After everything that had happened, I just needed to get away from Iva. She was yelling at me not to leave her alone, saying she was scared to be left alone, but honestly, I didn't care at that point. I told her I would come back in the morning and I would sleep on the couch. But she just kept going on, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. So I rolled my eyes, turned around, and walked out. I could still hear her shouting after me, but I didn't care. I needed to get out of there. I went back to our home and slept on the couch, and let me tell you, it was the best sleep I had in days. Finally, I was free from my mother-in-law's constant yelling and rudeness. And you know what? I didn't feel bad for her at all. I mean, she brought all of this on herself with her mean and selfish behavior. It was like she was trying to force her wants on us. And that's just not how it works. You can't make someone have kids if they don't want to. So I just shrugged it off and thought, karma's a bitch. She got what was coming to her, and maybe this whole experience would teach her to treat people better in the future. I was just relieved to be away from her and back in the comfort of our own home. It was a crazy, exhausting day, but at least it was over, and I could finally get some peace.